Hey, what's up, guys? Jay Pounds here with another weekly rebuild video for you. As I mentioned last week, we're going to switch it, or Tuesday, I guess it would be. We're going to switch it up a little bit and go ahead and go with the Orphan Team Rebuild Series. And the funny part about that name is it's not actually an orphan team. We're going to go ahead and rebuild my personal team simply because the orphan team is just too good to tear down. It's very, very good. I see no reason to break that team down, and for the video, or for the purpose of a video, when I have a team that's very, very early on in a rebuild now. Basically, this is the first season I am rebuilding, and I started it very late in the season last year due to injuries and things of that nature. So it's still a fresh rebuild that we can all do together. And my goal here is kind of just to get, all of us talking a little bit, and maybe, so and so wants this player and I want this player, and we can have a majority discussion about it, or a discussion about it, and the majority wins, and we'll make that move because that's what the majority wanted. This is truly going to be a team that I rebuild with you guys. Just because I'm running the team doesn't mean I even have the final say. Yeah, I'm clicking the buttons, but I want this to be a group decision every time we make a move. And I just kind of hope this is something that you guys are going to enjoy. Like I said, that's really about all I got to mention on it. I want to show you guys really quick the orphan team I was given that's just too good to tear down and rebuild. But it kind of threw a wrench into things, but that's all right. We got a plan B, and we got it figured out, and I think it's going to work just as good. Before I show you this team, though, I do want to mention, if Twitter is a problem for anybody and you just don't like it, can't use it for whatever reason, let me know in the YouTube comments, or however you want to get a hold of me. We'll figure it out. We'll start a public group chat or something like that on Slack or something if we need to. It's not going to be a problem. I want something to where we're all going to be on the same place talking. That way, you'll see my ideas and I'll see yours, and vice versa, instead of seeing so and so's but not his and not hers, or whatever, things like that. But enough rambling. Let's get on to the team that we're not going to rebuild. As you see, we got Russ Wilson, Josh Jacobs, Miles Sanders, Kenny Galladay, Devontae Adams, Darren Waller, Antonio Gibson, Younghoe Koo, Minshew, Michelle, Gallman, Lazard, Chark, Burton, and Carlson. Derek Carr's a backup here. Got Rashard Higgins, MVS, Jalen Guyton, Keelan Cole, Ian Thomas. Like I said, this team's just too good to tear down. There's two moves I want to make here. I'd like to try to trade Russell Wilson and Kenny Galladay. There's some free agents on the auction that I want to look at, and Dak Prescott and Amari Cooper. I just feel it'd be a slight uptick in them. It's going to be a lot more salary, but I feel it'll be worth it, and making a nice run at the chase for the ring. Enough of that. Let's go ahead and get into the team we're actually going to be rebuilding. I'm going to show it through the actual article because I feel, whoops, wrong one. Why is that not? There we go. I feel it's just a little bit easier to look at here. The way I have it broke down is as to just looking at a whole roster. The 2021 salary, I'm at $83.7 million. For draft picks, I have my 2021 first round picks. I got the 2nd, the 5th, and the 12th overall picks. And then in round 2, I got the 5th pick. In round 3, I have the 12th pick. In round 1, I'm really, really torn on what I'm going to do at number 2. I really need to go quarterback, but I know there'll be a quarterback at 5 too. It really depends on what the ADP is looking like in other rookie drafts, and how I feel my league mates are going to attack things. But I really feel like I have a good spread here in round 1, where I can really take my favorite player in each tier outside of Trevor Lawrence, because I feel like he'll go number 1 in pretty much all drafts. There's no reason for him not to in this. But we'll see how it plays out, and I really need to target quarterback, wide receiver, and possibly tight end, but we'll go over that later in the video. In 2022, I have 2 first rounds, 2 second rounds, and a third round pick. So that leaves me with a solid 2 years of picks to really rebuild this team. So just kind of let me know where you guys think I should go after you see the rest of this team and things like that, and what you think I should do in the draft. With the pick number 5, if I go quarterback at 2, it's really going to be a debate on whether I take what I feel is going to be the next star receiver or Kyle Pitts if he's there. Having an edge at tight end in fantasy football is really, really kind of a big deal, especially nowadays. So that's going to be a tough decision. But like I said, we'll get into that later. Let's go ahead and look at the quarterbacks here on this roster. We have Ryan Tannehill, Daniel Jones, Sam Darnold, Jameis Winston, and Taylor Heineke. Ryan Tannehill was a late pickup. I was very surprised. My team got hot kind of at the end, and I barely missed out on the playoffs. So I picked up Ryan Tannehill, a few weeks before the end of the season to try to make that playoff push, and I ended up missing out on points. But I like Tannehill going forward. He's done it now. I don't see him fading away or anything and going back to the Miami Ryan Tannehill. So I like that there. I really want to try to get a rookie quarterback, and get a stud on a rookie deal and really reap the benefits of that advantage. Then we got Daniel Jones. He just had a really bad year. Him and Sam Darnold, they really kind of hurt this team. Going into Dynasty Owner, I knew I needed a quarterback on a rookie deal, at least one. I really wanted 2, that way I could carry, 2 quarterbacks and build the rest of this roster any way I really wanted to. And I had CMC. I took him at number 1, and then I took Julio Jones. So I knew, having 2 quarterbacks on rookie deals would really help, at least in my mind. And boy, was I wrong, because Sam Darnold and Daniel Jones just had horrible years. And then CMC was hurt, Julio was banged up, Mixon got hurt. So really, injuries on top of just bad quarterback play really did me in, and that led to me wanting to rebuild and things like that. So at the quarterback position, I'm definitely going to keep Ryan Tannehill. I'm thinking I'm going to probably try and wheel and deal with Daniel Jones and Sam Darnold, at least one of them for sure. I'll be trading. I'll probably wait and see where Darnold goes, and then we'll go from there with those. But I got 2 wild cards here with Jameis Winston and Heineke. I just picked Heineke up like a week ago. If Winston finds a starting spot, he's a really good fantasy quarterback, so he could really be that kind of sleeper quarterback for me if he hits and gets a chance somewhere. But we'll see. Hard telling. Drew Brees might end up coming back. I haven't seen anything on his official retirement yet. And then Heineke's got a real shot at winning the Washington job. So, I could have a lot of potential ammo for trades here with Winston, Darnold, Jones, and Heineke. If all, in a perfect world where all 4 of them are starting, yeah, I'm trading all of them and just reaping the benefits in years to come in drafts, or just, taking young talent for them also. Let's go on to the running backs here. We have J.K. Dobbins, Antonio Gibson, A.J. Dillon, Kalen Ballage, Latavius Murray, and Justin Jackson. The 3 I'm really wanting to build with here, obviously, J.K. Dobbins, Antonio Gibson, and Dillon. I always preach don't get running backs when you're rebuilding. Don't take those first. But that was really all that was there in these trades, and it made sense for the owners that were trading to me, and it made sense for me, I guess. There was no one else interested or in terms of the Julio trade. I had to make salaries match and things like that. So it really just kind of came down to that, and I ended up with Dobbins and Gibson and Dillon. I did draft Dillon, so I already had him, but I ended up acquiring Dobbins and Gibson in trades. And I believe I'm going to end up, well, like I said, we're rebuilding this team together. So my opinion here is I almost think we should trade Gibson and Dobbins and load up at receiver or tight end, and then draft quarterbacks and running backs over the next few years, things like that. But we'll talk about that and discuss it A.J. Dillon here, if he ends up getting the starting job in Green Bay this year, I definitely think he's a real trade candidate. It just – I don't see his value being much higher than that unless he really turns into a stud running back. And I do like him as a prospect, but we'll see with the lack of receiving and the way Aaron Jones played in the Packers offense. It just doesn't seem like A.J. Dillon fits, but he does have talent, so we'll see there. Latavius Murray, I feel like he's a must trade or just hang on to him until he retires. He's barely got any value left now. But that being said, maybe hold on to him for a few weeks and see if Alvin Kamara, something happens to him and he gets a big time role, and then trade him for that. But I'm going to try to get a little bit of value out of Murray as long as you guys agree. I think that's the best play with him. And then you got Kalen Ballage and Justin Jackson as free agents next season. So we'll see where they sign. I feel like Ballage will probably be a cut candidate once we get to talking about it. And then Justin Jackson, we'll probably end up keeping him, and hopefully he goes to a good situation, and then we'll decide from there whether we want to keep him or trade him or even cut him. It just depends on what we feel is necessary for this team. After the running backs, we got the wide receivers. Corey Davis, Brandon Cooks, Michael Pittman, Nelson Aguilar, Marvin Jones, Jalen Reagor, Quintez Cephas, Travis Fulgham, Russell Gage, Anthony Miller, and Colin Johnson. I'm going to run through these kind of quick so I don't bore you guys to death. But the real controversial player here, I feel like, is Brandon Cooks with Watson wanting out of Houston. It's really upsetting to see. Cooks really came on towards the end of the last season and looked like he was poised for a big 2021. And then Watson wants out to Houston, and now the outlook's just bleak for him. So we'll see what happens there, and then we'll decide on Cooks. You got Corey Davis as a free agent. I'm really interested to see what happens with him. He could end up being a building block, or not necessarily a building block, but he could be a solid foundational piece for us. But we'll decide after we see where he goes. Aguilar, same thing. Hopefully he'll go back to Vegas, and then he'll be worth a little bit of value. Marvin Jones, very big wild card here. Hard telling where he goes. Does he re-sign with Detroit with Stafford not being there? Does he retire? Who knows? He's getting old. It's hard telling, but hopefully he'll sign cheap somewhere and we can get some value out of him. And then building blocks here, we got Reagor and Pittman. Hopefully one of these two turn into at least a wide receiver too, and then we can hopefully find our next star, the next DeAndre Hopkins or something in the draft, and then have a nice solid core of Pittman, Reagor, a stud receiver, and Cooks or something like that. Or Davis, not Cooks. Cooks is kind of Cooks is still young actually, and then Davis, and have a nice solid five. And then you got Russell Gage, Miller, Fulgham, Johnson. It's hard telling with any of these guys. I really like Anthony Miller from a talent perspective, but he got beat out quick by Mooney last season, so it's hard telling what's going to go on with him. But just let me know what you guys think on the wide receiver position and what your thoughts are and where we should go with that. I'm definitely not happy with this wide receiver position core right here that we got. It definitely needs upgraded, and it definitely needs an influx of solid young talent. We got a lot of young talent here, but none of these are guarantees. So we definitely need to bolster that up. Last but not least, we got, well, I shouldn't say last but not least. We'll touch on the kickers very quickly. We got the tight ends: Dallas Goddard, Drew Sample, O.J. Howard, and Adam Troutman. I really like Dallas Goddard, but I'm not sold that he's going to be up there in terms of like a Darren Waller or a Mark Andrews. I highly doubt anybody's going to be a Kittle or Kelsey anytime soon. I kind of throw those names out there a little bit recklessly sometimes, but that's all right. It's just kind of an exaggeration a little bit, trying to get my point home. But I don't know that he'll be a consistent top 3 or 4 tight end, and Kyle Pitts will be probably sitting there at 5. So I think we're going to have a decision to make here. Do we want to stick with Goddard, or do we want to gamble and take a Kyle Pitts at 5 in the draft? Drew Sample, Cincinnati spent a high pick on him, second rounder. My main concern with him is it just seems like Joe Burrow doesn't like throwing to its tight end. He likes slinging it around the field, and that doesn't involve the tight end much. But, with the Bengals putting a second rounder, spending a second rounder to get Drew Sample in the draft, I just feel like he'll be a part of the offense at some point. At least they're going to try to make him a part of the offense. And if it doesn't work out, it doesn't work out. But I feel like he'll get a shot at some point in time, probably this season. OJ Howard, he's a very, very good prospect coming out. Just hasn't really panned out. And that could just be the situation he's in. I don't know. We'll see. Maybe he'll get traded or something, or he'll just blow up in Tampa and kind of Cameron Braid will fade away or something, and Gronk will just be relevant in the playoffs, and they'll kind of save him a little bit. And then we got Adam Troutman. I really liked what he started looking like at the end of the year. Jared Cook's been released already from the Saints, so it should be the Adam Troutman show from here on out. We'll get a pretty good look at him in 2021, and then we'll decide from there. I'm sure we'll keep him past then, but you never know. It's fantasy football; anything can happen. I think that's really all I got on the tight ends. So like I said, make sure you guys take a look at this and let me know where you think we should go from here. Oh yeah, I didn't put the other one on there. I did not put the kickers on there. I apologize. I have 3 kickers. All of them are free agents this season. I like to stay flexible there, but I do like to keep 3 kickers. I feel like that's a pretty important thing is keeping 3 kickers with the bye weeks and the bench scoring and things like that. That's all I got for you guys. Free agency is looming, man. It's very close. So make sure you guys are paying attention to things and on top of stuff. And March 18th, it'll be here quickly. The new salary cap was set. I don't remember the exact number. I think it was 127.2 million, if I remember right, but don't quote me on that. So I hope to hear from you guys. I'm really looking forward to building this team with you guys and all your input on it and everything like that. Like I said, get a hold of me at Twitter at JPoundsNFL. And good luck on your 2021 chase for the ring. We'll see you guys next week.